Hey guys, Ryan Young, Kama Jiu-Jitsu, and I hope you're doing well. So I had a conversation with Sensei Dean Salehian, who's our judo instructor. And we had 3 kids that entered a local judo tournament, small tournament. It was run by a judo school, judo dojo, as they like to call themselves. And he and I were having a conversation about the schools that had people there. And he comes from a local school, which is a nonprofit school. The school that we had the tournament at is obviously a for-profit school, and there was another school that had a lot of people there that were supporting the tournament, and they were also a for-profit school. What he had mentioned to me was that in the big argument, profit versus non-profit, because a lot of people feel, hey, you know, capitalism is evil when it comes to the martial arts, because the martial arts were always handed down from master to protege or father to son, and bringing the whole money thing into it kind of makes for a greedy situation, right? Everybody likes to knock on the Gracies, especially Horian Gracie, for being greedy because he would invest all his time and money into building the Gracie Jiu-Jitsu name, and then he would turn around and trademark it and then sue family members who would come in after him to try to establish roots in the US. But when Sensei Dean and I were talking about profit versus non-profit, because with judo, more schools are actually non-profit, club-type schools, versus the minority being a for-profit school. So what he mentioned was these 2 schools that are for-profit, the one that hosted the tournament and the one that brought in more people to be in the tournament, participate, he says those 2 schools dominate the local Dallas jiu-jitsu scene. They're the biggest schools, and they also have what tends to be the best students. We kind of discussed it, you know, Kama Jiu-Jitsu obviously is a for-profit school. We're not a non-profit school. And I'm not trying to be biased in it because we're not a big school. We don't have 500 members in it. You know, Dave, Kama, and I are not making loads of money teaching jiu-jitsu. In fact, neither Dave nor I nor Jack Toffer, another black belt, none of us get paid to do this. The school is generating a profit, but not for either or any of us. We're not getting paid doing this. So you can say we're doing it for the love of it, but at the same time, the school needs to be run at a profit so that we can pay our instructors to teach, our junior instructors, we pay them. We can pay for a studio, we can pay the rent, we can pay the utility bills, we can buy mats if we need to, buy plane tickets to fly Dave in and out of here, or myself. A school needs to be run to earn money. But what happens is when you have profit as a motive, you can look at it and say people are being greedy, but what I think really is you're trying to provide the best product, and people are not motivated necessarily to do something for free. Whatever expertise you have, let's say you're an engineer, are you going to offer your expertise to a company for free? No, you're not going to, because your time is worth money. So people seem to be of the thought that for the martial arts, your time is not worth any money, but in the same time that they're saying that, you know, oh, martial arts should be free, or jiu-jitsu should be free, judo should be free, judo has always been free. Why should I pay for judo? Well, then my question to you is, what do you do for a living, right? Why don't you do what you do for free, right? It's capitalism, right? You know, a lot of people don't like capitalism, but really the best products and services come out of a capitalistic society and environment. What organization has been the most successful in getting Gracie Jiu-Jitsu out to the masses, right? The Gracie Academy. Through their 1,300 students, through their Gracie University, through their DVDs, through their YouTube videos, they've gotten the word out to a ton of people. Now flip to the BJJ side. Who's the most successful in that? Gracie Baja, right? Gracie Baja, they have all their schools, there's 700 schools or whatever all over the world, and they're spreading the art in that way. They would not be what they are, and the Gracie Academy would not be what they are if there were no profit motive in there. For those of you who like to complain about jiu-jitsu costing money, simple thing is just don't go there. But realize that if the judo model is similar to the jiu-jitsu model, you will not necessarily have the best students come out of a non-profit school. A lot of times the best students come out of the for-profit school. And here's another thing too. Sensei Dean was talking about the school that he's part of. They do classes only Tuesday and Thursday. Whereas that particular school that we had that hosted the tournament, they had classes 7 days a week. If there's no profit in it, if there's no no way you're going to get compensated for your time, why would you have classes 7 days a week? You wouldn't. You'd set aside a couple of days a week and that would be it. So if you're only teaching a couple of days a week, how good are your students going to be? On the other hand, if people are paying you to run a school and you have classes 7 days a week, and you have people that can come in 7 days a week if they want to, they can't help but get better, right? I hope I can kind of squash this whole argument and debate about schools run for profit and schools not run for profit. Because if it were not for Jorge and Gracie, and I'm not at his academy, he's not my teacher. I was at his academy for a year or so, maybe 2. But he didn't teach a lot of the classes that I was at. So I don't have a lot of exposure to Jorge and Gracie. If Jorge and Gracie were to walk in front of me, he doesn't even know who I am. But if not for Jorge and Gracie, and if not for his capitalistic mentality, Gracie Jiu-Jitsu wouldn't be a tenth of what it is today. We in the Jiu-Jitsu community owe Jorge and Gracie a huge debt of gratitude. Facts are facts. So, and the same can be said for Carlos Gracie Jr. But if Jorge and Gracie had not built what he built and gotten the word out and had the UFC created, even Carlos Gracie Jr. wouldn't have had the inroads that he had in the US. He just happened to be able to take advantage of the inroads that Jorge had created for him. And Royce. But Royce was only there because Jorge put him there. But Jorge is a great master as well. But everybody benefited to a certain degree from Jorge and Gracie and his capitalistic mentality. So before you knock it, kind of think back a little bit and think to yourself, would you even know about Gracie Jiu-Jitsu if not for the profit motive? And my answer is probably no. And if you look at Carlos and Helio Gracie originally, the Gracie Academy they say it was really more for the rich. Well, it's because the rich could pay for their time. Once you have people who have access to it, then you're going to have jiu-jitsu spread down to the lower income levels. So if they didn't run the Gracie Academy for profit, then they would not have been able to do that for a living and support the 35 kids between the two of them. And also to support their students and teach them and let the students be able to make a living teaching and fighting, right? It's all because of the profit motive. Profit breeds opportunity. What you do with that opportunity is up to you. Some people use that opportunity for bad things, and some people use it for good things. The mistake that a lot of people have is they automatically equate profit with bad things, when in fact profit can be done for good. So one event that just happened in the last week, and I believe, without knowing both of the people involved, I'm just kind of armchair quarterbacking here, what I believe became involved was it had to do with profit. So you have Ralph Gracie San Francisco. Now, Ralph Gracie is a pillar of the jiu-jitsu community in San Francisco. His uncle Carle originally brought it to San Francisco, but he didn't grow it to the degree that Ralph did in the area. After 25 years, Kurt Osiander has been running Ralph Gracie's San Francisco campus. All this time I thought he owned it, but he's been working for Ralph the whole time. Kurt Osiander, for those of you who follow his YouTube channel and follow him in general, he's a character. He's actually kind of hilarious. But he caters to a certain segment of the market. He's very old school in his training, in his mentality, and his personality. For some, it's fun and they like that, they're attracted to it, and some it's not. So in that way, his personality can be seen as polarizing. Well, Ralph Gracie running that school might have figured that, getting some advice from his uncle Carlinhos, who gave him his black belt. Ralph Gracie, believe it or not, is a Baja Gracie black belt. And I say Baja Gracie because that's what it used to be called before it was Gracie Baja. He's a Baja Gracie black belt, and he gets advice from his uncle. And his uncle, who's built this empire, probably told him, hey, look, you need to change the way your school is run. You need to have the environment be more neutral, right? Not so polarizing. Because somebody who's into all the cussing and all that won't be offended by somebody who doesn't cuss. On the other hand, somebody who makes it a life thing to not cuss is going to be offended by somebody who does cuss. So you have that group, those types of instructors, they think, hell with it, right? I don't care if I'm offending you. It's just the way it is. If you don't like it, you can get out, right? That is not the way that maybe Half figures he needs to run a business to the next level, like the way Gracie Baja is, right? If I'm not mistaken, Gracie Baja's headquarters campus, which is Irvine, California, is probably about 600 or 700 students, if not more. They might have 1,000 students by now, I don't know. But it's run in a manner that can be seen as more professional. Where I first saw this personally was when I moved to California and I went to the Gracie Academy. There was one day when I was done training, we went in the back room, we were doing our class. After class was over, it was hot, right? And training hard and all that. I took my shirt off. I walked on, in the hallway, which is the main common area, walked in the hallway without my shirt on, and I went into the locker room. Jorge and Gracie followed me in there very nicely, put his hand on my shoulder and said, "Hey, my friend Ryan, going forward, let's keep our shirts on until we get to the locker room." It made me realize that he was doing it differently. And, I idolize the guy, so I'm not going to question him. I just said, "I'm sorry," and then from then on, I never took my shirt off again in the academy, in the common area. Just a little thing like that. And you could tell by the students that were there, nobody cussed over there as well. It was very professionally run. And I got that impression based on my experience training at the University of Hawaii with Helson, right? Everybody would cuss in there, and it was a different environment. It was a much more loose environment where there was really no big deal. You could cuss and be all, in that way all you want. There were no women in the area. There were no kids in the area. It was just a bunch of guys that were training, beating each other up. Harsh words came out, but it was all in fun. On the other hand, the Gracie Academy was not that way. So with this whole Kurt Osiander, Half Gracie thing, Half Gracie put a comment out on his, not his Twitter, his Instagram page, basically saying he wanted to keep Kurt around because Kurt was with him for 25 years, but they just couldn't come to terms with that. So what he did was he brought in a Gracie Baja black belt to run the school for him. And the Gracie Baja black belt, I think, made a comment saying that going forward, there's going to be no cussing, no smoking, no drugs, or whatever was going on in the school. That things are going to change, and they were going to steer more professional, try to go for a different clientele. The thing about capitalism is that Kurt can do things his way, and from what I understand, he and another instructor there, they broke off and opened their own school. They didn't want to do it that way, so the free market allowed them to basically jump out and open their own school, which is what they did. Half has that instructor come in to run his school now, who is going to do things the way Gracie Baja does it. It's not a Gracie Baja Academy, but he's going to do it they're going to run it the way Gracie Baja runs things. And that's perfectly within Half's prerogative to do that. If each feel that it's better for them to do what they want to do, their journeys have now separated. Now Kurt's going to run his own school. He's going to run it the way he's always run the Half Gracie San Francisco school, but it'll be now there. Half probably figures that a lot of students will jump and will follow Kurt over there. The ones that are very comfortable with Kurt are going to go there. The ones that were less comfortable are going to stay. And then from there, you have two schools that are now going to be half the size maybe, but from there, they're going to build up. I have no doubt both of them will become successful, but they're going to be successful in a different way. So anyway, I hope that helped to clear things up. That's just my opinion. I know a lot of you have other opinions, and you still will, and we'll just have to figure we're going to disagree forever on this, but that's what I've got. Anyway, hope everything's going well with you, and happy training. Take care now. Bye-bye.